district, and on behalf of the National Assembly, she welcomed the visitors to the institution.
In the other announcement, Madam First Deputy Speaker recognized the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from the following schools: Elite Eagle School in Lusaka District and Sunshine School in Lusaka District. Madam First Deputy Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly.
And thereafter, the acting leader of government business in the House, Honorable Ambrose L. Lufuma, did suspend standing orders 27.2 and 123 of the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2024 to enable the House to complete all business of the House or on the order paper and all matters arising therefrom, and also to consider more than one stage of a bill on Friday, 20th March, which is today, 2026. On such completion, the House adjourns the sine die. So he did move this motion, and after debate, the motion was adopted by the House.
After that, three urgent matters without notice were raised under Standing Order 142, and the first one came from Kamfinsa Member of Parliament, Mr. Christopher Kangombe. The subject matter was on the alleged delay by the government to establish road and network connectivity between Zamtan and Kapolo Farm blocks in Kamfinsa Parliamentary constituency. This matter was inadmissible.
And in another matter of urgent nature without notice came from Mwembeshi Member of Parliament, Mr. Jamba Machila, and this was on the subject matter uproar amongst youth in Mwembeshi Parliamentary constituency regarding the government's failure to publicize the names of health workers that have been deployed to their constituency. This was also inadmissible.
The last matter came from Lunte Member of Parliament, Mr. Mutoto Kafwaya. This was on the toilets commissioned by the President in Kwacha Parliamentary constituency in 2024. This matter was equally inadmissible.
And after that, the House went on to consider questions for oral answer understanding order number 80, and these were question number 258 to 266. However, notice was taken at 17:02 hours that a quorum had not been formed, and the Honorable Mr. Second Deputy Speaker ordered the bells to be rung and House counted, and the quorum having been formed, the House business continued.
And the House went on to consider grouped questions for oral answer numbers 267 and 268 under Standing Order 83.
The House noted the question for written answer number W3 understanding order number 81, and a reply was accordingly recorded in the daily parliamentary debates.
And after that, the House considered the Banking and Financial Services Bill, National Assembly Bill number 36 of 2025, which was read the third time and it passed.
And after that, it was resolved that the House adjourns, and the House adjourned accordingly at 17:44. So that was business of the House yesterday, 19th March 2026. And just now we shift our attention and look at business expected to come for consideration on the floor of the House today, 20th March 2026. And being a Friday, business will start at 9 hours.
And today, Friday, we do expect the House to consider questions for oral answer understanding Order 82 and questions for oral answer understanding Order 80. We also expect the House to consider the Disaster Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 1 of 2026 at committee stage. So just now we look at the details of the questions that are coming up for consideration.
Yes, some of the questions that are coming for oral understanding Order 82, these are questions of urgent nature, and there are 4 on today's order paper, and one of them is coming from Kafue Member of Parliament, Ms. Miriam Chonya, and this is question number 269, and her question is directed to Her Honor the Vice President, and the question is coming in 2 parts. Part A is whether the government is aware that there has been an occurrence of sinkholes in Chisankane Ward in Kafue Parliamentary constituency, which is an imminent threat to human life and property as well as the infrastructure. And part B of the question, if so, what urgent measures are being taken to address the problem and safeguard the lives of the communities?
And question 270 will come from Kantanchi Member of Parliament, Mr. Anthony Mumba. His question will be directed to the Minister of Energy. He wants to find out a question in 4 parts. In part A, what urgent measures the government is taking to ensure a consistent supply of fuel during an ongoing conflict involving the United States of America, Israel and Iran. In Part B, he wants to find out what the anticipated fuel prices trends are during this period. In Part C, he wants to find out what the current national fuel storage capacity is and the corresponding duration for which the available stocks can sustain supply. And in Part D, he wants to find out what measures the government will put in place to mitigate the impact of the cost of fuel.
Yes, you are watching Parliament Television, and business of the House today is expected to start at 09 hours, and we continue giving you what is expected to come on the floor of the House today, and also it being the last day of the meeting before the House adjourns sine die. So we have a question coming from Kalabo Central Member of Parliament, Mr. Chinga Miutu, and his question is directed to the Minister of Health. Part A of the question, he wants to know whether the government is aware that Lewanika General Hospital in Mongo District does not have any medical oxygen. And Part B of the question, if so, what measures are being taken to ensure availability of medical oxygen to avert loss of life?
And question 272 will come from Chawama Member of Parliament, Mr. Nundwe. His question will be directed to the Vice President. He wants to find out a question in 3 parts. In Part A, whether the government is aware that the following areas in Chawama Parliamentary Constituency have been flooded following heavy rains during the period 12 to 16 March 2026, thereby posing a threat of an outbreak of waterborne diseases. These are Kuku, Misisi, and John Howard. In Part B, the Member of Parliament for Chawama wants to find out, if so, what urgent measures are being taken to address the problem. And in the last part of the question, he wants to find out what long-term measures are being taken to avert annual flooding in the constituency.
Yes, and those are just some of the questions that are coming for consideration on the floor of the House. And just now, the Speaker's procession is making its way into the chambers. We cross over to the chamber.
Honorable members of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
Tendency of Zambia, proud and free, land of wealth and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for the right. We want freedom's fight for one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by those who blend. Let us all our people join as one, brothers under the sun. Oh, one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace in Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, oh one, strong and free. Praise be to God, bless our great Zambia, 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 remain with stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, oh one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people. We beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our church. Amen.
It is a requirement that 1/3 of the members of parliament have to be in the house in order for business to continue in the house. And in this regard, the business of the house will not resume until a quorum has been constituted. And of course, it will be run for some time until quorum has been constituted. We continue looking at giving you what is expected to come for consideration on the floor of the House. We have questions for oral answer understanding order number 80, and we have 5 of them to be considered, and these are questions of an ordinary nature. One of them is coming from Mpika Central Member of Parliament, Mr. Francis Kapyanga, and he's directing his question to the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. And part A of the question, he wants to know whether the government has any plans to construct a Mpika main police station in Mpika district, and if so, when the plans will be implemented, and what the estimated cost is, and if there are no such plans, why.
Another question, understanding order 80. This is question 273, will come from Chadiza Member of Parliament, Mr. Jonathan Daka. This question will be directed to the Minister of Health. He wants to find out in part A whether the government has any plans to construct a level 1 hospital at Chanida border post in Chadiza district following the increase in population in the area. In part B, he wants to find out if so, when the plans will be implemented. In part C, what are the estimated costs of the project?
Honorable Member for Mitete, please can you assist us with ensuring that we have more members in the House for the quorum?
Good morning, and so you're still watching Parliament Television. Bells are still ringing. The quorum hasn't yet been constituted. It is a requirement that 1/3 of members of Parliament must be present in the House for any business to transact. And so once the quorum has been constituted, we expect business of the House to commence. And earlier on, I was just giving the details of a question for oral answer, understanding order 80. Question 273, which is expected to come from Chadiza Member of Parliament, Mr. Jonathan Daka, and this question will be directed to the Minister of Health. In part A, he wants to find out whether the government has any plans to construct a level 1 hospital at Chanida border post in Chadiza district following the increase in the population in the area. Part B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. Part C, what the estimated cost of the project is. And Part D, if there are no such plans, why.
And question number 274 is coming from Kamfisa Member of Parliament, Mr. Christopher Kangombe, and his question is directed to the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation. And part A of the question wants to know whether the government is aware that the sewer system in most parts of Ndeka and Changa townships in Kamfisa parliamentary constituency have collapsed, and if so, when the government will rehabilitate the sewer systems in the affected areas. And part C, what the estimated cost of the rehabilitation is.
And question 275 will come from Lufanyama Member of Parliament, Mr. Sia Chisumo. His question will be directed to the Minister of Agriculture. He wants to find out a question in 5 parts. In part A, what measures the government is taking to reduce the price of fertilizer to make it affordable for farmers and to reduce dependency on the Farmer Import Support Program. In Part B, he wants to find out how many fertilizer manufacturing companies were opened between January 2020 to August 2025 year by year. In Part C, he wants to find out how many tons of the following fertilizers were produced by the companies above during the period January 2020 to August and August 2025. And in Part D, he wants to find out whether the government provided incentives to the manufacturing companies at B in order to encourage more production. And in Part E, he wants to find out if incentives were not provided, why.
Yes, Matimba, we have question number 276 coming from Chibubi, Member of Parliament, Mr. Mlenga Fuve, and he wants to find out from the Minister of Mines and Minerals Development in Part A of the question whether the government has any plans to publish a minerals book after the completion of a geophysical survey, and Part B, if so, when the book will be published, and Part C, if there are no such plans, why.
And today we do expect the House also to consider the Disaster Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 1 of 2026, which is coming at committee.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I have two announcements. The first one is, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Chongwe Secondary School in Chongwe District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome the visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. The next announcement, honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Jacaranda Trust School in Kabwe District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I wish to welcome the visitors in our midst. I thank you. You may take your seats. So, honorable members, as you have noticed, because we are adjourning today, so there will be no urgent matters without notice. So we go straight to the questions. Questions for oral answer under Standing Order 82. The Honorable Member for Kantanshi. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I wasn't aware. The Honorable Member for Kasama Central will ask on behalf of the Honorable Member for Kantanshi, who is just walking in.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to ask a question on behalf of the people of Kantanshi. Question number 269. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Acting Minister of Energy. The Honorable Minister of Energy is also just walking in. Honorable Minister of Energy, question number 269, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My apology, Madam Speaker. This question just came urgently. I delayed in just trying to prepare the information for the House. I really apologize. Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member for Kantanshi, Mr. Mumba, is asking the Minister of Energy a question in 4 parts. In A, what urgent measures the government is taking to ensure consistent supply of fuel during the ongoing conflict involving United States of America, Israel, and Iran. In B, what the anticipated fuel price trends are during this period. And in C, what the current national fuel storage capacity is and the corresponding duration for which the available stocks can sustain the supply. And in D, what measures the government will put in place to mitigate the impact of the cost of fuel. Madam Speaker, our response is as follows. In A, government is alive to the happenings in the Middle East and the impact it's likely to have on our petroleum product supply chain. Arising from this, the government is implementing measures aimed at safeguarding national energy security. Among the measures, Madam Speaker, 1, government is considering alternative routes to source petroleum products via the western side of the continent through ports such as the Wales Bay. 2, strictly management of the current stock, Madam Speaker, that we have, such as banning the exports. And 3, active management of the suppliers and the OMCs to continue importing products from other refineries that are not affected by the war in the Middle East. And 4, Madam Speaker, undertaking of enforcement measures against OMCs found to be hoarding petroleum products. In B, Madam Speaker, the general trends in international oil prices for refined products shows prices have moved from relatively stable levels to historic high. At a global level, the ongoing Middle East conflict is driving international oil prices upwards, further causing disruption to oil production and key shipping routes, constraints supply, and elevate risks in international markets. Before the war, Madam Speaker, crude oil prices were selling around 78 United States dollars per barrel and has since increased to over 100 United States dollar per barrel, reflecting tightened supply conditions and market uncertainty. In C, the current national fuel storage capacity is 551 million liters, which translates into the following. The total storage capacity for diesel is 450 million liters, which is able to store 83 days of stock covers. The total storage for petrol is 80 million liters, which is able to store 47 days of stock cover. The total storage capacity for kerosene is 7.5 million liters, which is able to store 1,000 days of stock covers. The total storage capacity for Jet A1 is 13 million liters, which is able to store 62 days stock cover. Madam Speaker, the stock position of the country as of 19th March 2026 stood at diesel, approximately 285 million liters, equivalent to 56 days of cover. Petrol, approximately 40 million liters, equivalent to 23 days of cover. Kerosene, approximately 65.9 thousand liters, equivalent to 9.3 days cover. Jet Jet A1, approximately 1.6 million liters equivalent to 10 days cover. In D, the following are the measures government is considering. 1, reviewing of the open access framework. And 2, Madam Speaker, use of price stabilization fund. And 3, Madam Speaker, reviewing of the price framework. And lastly, Madam Speaker, review of taxes, among others. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Chipiri has also just walked in his usual attire. You can show it off, yes. Supplementary questions, the Honorable Member for Kantanshi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and my apologies as well. Honorable Minister, thank you very much for your responses. Madam Speaker, you do realize that this conflict, among the other conflicts that we have had in terms of threatening our economy, this is another challenge for the UPND government, something that they have not sought for, but they have to deal with it. So my first question to the Minister will be that these alternative routes that you have now identified, comparing to the traditional routes that you are using, do we see the price being maintained as it is now, or are you expecting increase in prices of fuel? Because you need to prepare the country so that you are not accused of being incompetent. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member. Madam Speaker, indeed, by leaving our traditional routes where we have been getting these products and start considering other routes, will definitely result into prices, going up, because this is just the option that we have, and all we are looking forward, Madam Speaker, is to make sure that the supply chain is not disrupted. The country must continue having the product. But in the same vein, Madam Speaker, we are saying we need to start looking at our pricing framework, and also we are looking at certain taxes that are being considered definitely by the Minister of Finance, so that we are able to cushion in terms of the pricing, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Kwacha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Minister, for that timely response. Honorable Minister, we have a situation right now where certain filling stations, especially in Kitwe, are dry, meaning oil marketing companies are withholding the product. So when is your long arm of government catching up with such companies, even when we have enough stock to last for quite a considerable number of days, given the report that you've just presented on the floor of the House? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member. Indeed, Madam Speaker, we are aware that some of the OMCs are running these filling stations. They are taking advantage of the situation, not understanding that as a country, this is a crisis that we are in, all of us. And the behavior of some is really uncalled for. And what we have done, Madam Speaker, through the regulatory board, ERB, we have intensified our monitoring to make sure that any fuel filling station that holds the product will be given sanctions. So the ERB are on top of things to make sure that all the filling stations that have product have to release the product to the consumers. no need of holding to the products. Madam Speaker, you may wish to note that our private players are also making sure that they are looking forward to wait for the increase of the prices so that they can have a big queue. But we are on top of things to make sure that all of us, including even members of parliament, Madam Speaker, can help in trying to identify such kind of filling stations that are behaving in the manner we are getting some of the reports in the negative. Otherwise, the government is on top of things to make sure that the supply chain, our markets, are always wet. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Kasama Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honourable Minister, the government was actually on the right track, especially with the monthly reductions of fuel pricing. But looking at the conflict in the Middle East, Zambia will not be exempt from the pricing. You mentioned to say that the price of Brent crude was about $78. It's now at $110 and maybe even increasing. In all this, preparedness is very, very important. Are there any subsidies or policy interventions being considered to protect the citizens from the rising price of Brent crude? Because looking at the rate at which we're going, the war keeps escalating. So there will definitely be need for that consideration. Would you consider subsidies? I submit. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Member. Indeed, Madam Speaker, we are likely to see prices going up. And this is where, Madam Speaker, I will lobby through my colleagues in this House that you need to help as government holders who are holding these positions to explain to prepare our people to understand what is happening in the Middle East and how it is going to affect us. So I really lobby to you, colleagues, that we are able to prepare our people so that they understand that the situation we are going into is not our own making. But however, Madam Speaker, the government, like I've stated in my first response, is that we are putting in place to consider some of these, taxes, and also I've mentioned of the stabilization, price stabilization. We are also looking at transport differential. All those factors, Madam Speaker, are being put in consideration to make sure that we cushion in terms of the pricing. Instead, as we are talking, Madam Speaker, our colleagues in the region, the price for the petroleum product is already equivalent to 38 kwacha per liter. But this administration is really committed to make sure that we mitigate the impact of this war from the Middle East. And we will still continue monitoring the trends, how they are happening. And government will continue putting these measures to cushion on the prices for our consumers. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Chipili.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honourable Minister, I want to find out the statistics that you have given, whether it is being held by the private sector, but that is not my question. My question is on those facilities that were constructed by previous government in most of our provinces. Who are running those facilities for fuel storage? Is it the state, or you have abandoned as the state, you have allowed the private sector?
Sorry, Honourable Member for Chipili, there is an indication for a point of order. The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics, what's the point of order?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm sure Madam Speaker will agree with me that I rarely rise on matters of point of order. Correct. But Madam Speaker, I'm compelled this morning that the honorable member for Chipili has come in the House, Madam Speaker, looking quite elegant. But, Madam Speaker, the honorable member has not afforded us an opportunity to appreciate the veil of the jacket that he's wearing. Is the honorable member in order, Madam Speaker, at least to just turn around and allow the members to appreciate this very, very elegant style of dressing? Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics has not cited any standing orders. But the Honorable Member for Chipili is leading by example. You know, that's how you should all be turning out on... oh, that's how we should all be turning out, except us who have to wear black. So he's taking advantage of that. The Honorable Member for Chipili is in order, but maybe just for the interest of the... You can turn around and show off your attire. Yes, you may proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think, Honorable Minister, you got my question. My question is on those facilities which were constructed by previous government in order for the state to be storing fuel in case we have calamity like this, instead of allowing the private sector to take part when the government can also do something. So I want to find out those facilities which are dotted in our all provinces. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member. Indeed, Madam Speaker, we have these facilities dotted across the country. Madam Speaker, we have one in Chipata. We have another one here in Lusaka. We have one in Mongu. We have one in Mansa. We have one in Solwezi. So, Madam Speaker, arising from the same situation that the world is going through, it has made this government to be proactive. And as we are talking, Madam Speaker, all these storage facilities are now active, and they are being run by Tazama. So even as we are trying to look for other alternative sources of supply, we are also factoring in our storage facilities that we have in the country to make sure that they are fully operational. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kantanshi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, thank you for your responses and reassurances, but you do realize that this is a very, very complex situation that our country is going to be in. And the one that will be blamed will be government at the end of the day. The reason is, already we have started facing fuel shortages in certain fuel filling stations. And so far, ERB that you are saying is on top of things has not even cited one single company that has been, maybe cautioned or spoken to so that, our people out there are able to appreciate. And secondly, government has moved away from participating in the business of buying fuel. It's now the private sector, meaning they are borrowing money from the bank. So you have very little control in terms of how they arrive at their profitability. Okay? So on one hand, you have to satisfy us, the Zambian people. On the other hand, those people have to remain in business. However, as complex as the situation is, my interest for now, Madam Speaker, and for the benefit of the people of Kantanshi, especially that we're coming from a mining community, there was a proposal by ERB in relation to the fund you're talking about, where they were going to be charging about 3/4, per, liter of fuel consumed by, for example, the mines and so on. Now, considering the complexity of this situation, is your ministry still going to uphold that? Or are you reviewing it so that, but when you review it, again, your stabilization fund gets affected. So what is your ministry going to do? Just for the sake of the industry, which is paying close attention to this question. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member. Madam Speaker, I can really see the passion in the Honorable Member of Parliament for Katanshi to make sure that we will prepare our citizens' minds over the situation we are facing. Madam Speaker, first of all, I want to give you confidence that ERB, so far, we have engaged these players who owns filling stations. We have already brought the players on board to understand the challenges that are coming out from our consumers and also the releases of the products on the market. We are already engaging, and even caution have already been given. It's only that we have not publicized the list of OMCs that we have already engaged. Now, coming to the price stabilization that was introduced by ERB, Madam Speaker, that was introduced so that in the situation like this one, the same fund which goes into energy fund is used to mitigate the challenges. But because of the situation that we are already, Madam Speaker, we have already decided to remove the price of stabilization temporarily, subject to the monitorings that we are checking the happenings that are going on the international market. So, Madam Speaker, those are the issues this government is really applying its mind to make sure that our citizens, our economy does not shut. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Momba.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable Minister, I wanted to find out, you have given us the figures in terms of what is available in terms of diesel, petrol, and other commodities, which I think if I got you right, would take us about 40 days or so. Now, I just wanted to find out, apart from that, and I'm asking this believing that these are the stocks that which we have in the country. As you are looking for the alternative routes, do we have any other stock, say that which is on the way, even before the war started, that which we are likely to have as you are looking for these other alternative routes? Madam Speaker, thank you very much.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much, and thank you, Honorable Member. Madam Speaker, like I've stated that this government is a very committed government, and yes, Madam Speaker, very serious government. And we are alive to the fact that globally, in the petroleum subsector, things are not okay. And we are acting proactively to make sure that whatever is supposed to affect us is quickly addressed. Madam Speaker, currently, we have already engaged those suppliers who have the product. And progress is on to make sure that those suppliers who have got this product are able to supply the country. So despite the fact that we have these stocks in the country, engagements are already in the pipeline to allow those suppliers who have this product within the region. For example, Madam Speaker, we have suppliers who have good product in Tanzania. We have suppliers, those who have good product in Beira. We have got suppliers such as like Dangote in Nigeria. So all these engagements are on to make sure that the supply of the product continue coming to the country, to make sure that our wheels of our economy keeps on moving. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Bwengwa.
Thank you very much, Honorable Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, thank you very much for your responses. And this gives us a little bit of encouragement. You are doing a very good job, Minister. Thank you very much. Through your Honorable Madam Speaker, Honorable Minister, I think you heard the President when he was at the mining indaba in South Africa, where he encouraged countries here in Africa to trade amongst themselves. And here in our neighboring country, Angola, okay, we have oil, okay? And is it possible that the Angolan government can also be engaged so that they can supply us with the, oil immediately, to have an alternative instead of waiting for these long routes? Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Thank you very much, Honorable Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member. Madam Speaker, like I stated, that there are so many engagements the government is putting in place. Angola is one of the countries that considerations are being put in place to see how we can also take advantage of the same source. And our experts are on top of things, Honorable Member, through you, Madam Speaker, that efforts already are being made to start exploring how we can get the product, the petroleum product from Lobito. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Bonamkubwa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Minister, for the answers you're providing. Suffice to say that, Madam Speaker, Minister, fuel is a business, and people are in business to make a profit. Now my question, Madam Speaker, is the government did introduce open access in which they were floating tenders, more or less tenders for accessing the pipeline, and that was done quarterly. I stand to be corrected, Minister, to packages, small parcels, some are 50,000 metric tons, some 100,000 metric tons, according to the consumption. So, Minister, what I wanted to find out, because fuel cannot be bought overnight, that fuel is more or less bought in advance, you have your suppliers. So I wanted to find out, I don't know if it's quarterly or 6 months, have you already awarded, and are we safe? We know these suppliers are going to supply us with aforesaid product, as it were, and as the price has been locked in, as it were, so that we understand if you've already given in the, I don't know if it's a next quarter or next 2 quarters has already been awarded. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member. Indeed, Madam Speaker, I did mention that, one, we are also trying to review the open access in relation to the situation that we have at hand. And secondly, Madam Speaker, we normally do this monthly. Monthly, that's how we do it. And I do understand that this is business, and the players need to be given ample time to procure this product. And also, that's the more reason why I've said that we are going to review the open access, but for now, we have just brought in all the players so that we see how are we going to do with this situation at hand in relation to the open access. So, Madam Speaker, everything is being put in place as we have already committed that, our economy is going to be run by private participation of players. So the issues of bringing in OMCs to consider or to give them ample time to prepare, to procure. All these matters are being considered. So going forward, we are also even thinking of now to issue or to go to to quota allocations to give ample time to the OMCs to be preparing for procurement. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Mandevu.
Madam Speaker, thank you for this opportunity to ask the Minister of Energy a follow-up question. Just like others have said, war cannot be blamed on any government, which includes our government, for the disruption in the economy. Minister, we have seen storage facilities dotted around the country, including Lusaka. And my worry has been, we have that huge facility in Lusaka West, which has been a white elephant. We have not been utilizing that facility, and I hope this is a lesson that we need to be proactive and not reactive. However, my question, Madam Speaker, is on the oil marketing companies that like to hoard fuel in anticipation of a price increase. We have seen time and again government warning these companies, but we have never heard of any punitive measures being meted out to these companies that like to hoard fuel every time they anticipate a price increase. I can give an example of Total Energies. I've seen SGC has improved now, but for Total Energies, whenever they just see any disruption in the economy worldwide, they'll stop selling the fuel until government adjusts the price upwards. If the government adjusts the price downwards, Total will not sell their fuel. What punitive measures are in place to ensure that such companies do not hold government to ransom?
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member. Like I said, Madam Speaker, that as government, we cannot entertain such kind of players who want to twist government, at the same time trying to affect the wheels of the wheels of economy. You know, petroleum products are key to our economic growth. So in no way this government will allow such kind of players to start holding to fuel and do as they want. These OMCs are regulated by the ERB. This is why, Madam Speaker, I did mention that we have engaged these OMCs and we have given caution. And we are going to enforce the law accordingly. So, Honorable Member, you should not really worry. We are also aware, and we are doing everything possible to make sure that such kind of behavior is deterred from others to see what they are doing. You have really mentioned Total Energy. Total Energy are one of the big players, those who have got filling stations around the country. And they have already been engaged, for your own information, if I can just say that. But believe and trust that going forward, you will not see such kind of behavior, or else they will face the law themselves. We are able, the ERB, the regulator, is able to suspend the licenses. So, Madam Speaker, we are really engaging our OMCs to make sure that all of us, we are doing the right thing within the law. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. I want to move to the next question because I keep on giving myself a milestone and then other members are indicating. So I had stopped at Kabwata was the last. Honorable member from Bavala, you came in a bit late. Honorable member for Ikeleng, sorry. I'll give you an opportunity for the next question if you need to ask. So we go to the honorable member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, my question. The honorable member for Mandevu asked the minister. In his question, I feel the minister has not answered. But that's not my question. It's just a concern. The member there was asking the minister to
Honorable member for Kalabo, just ask your question. You are not the one to mark whether the question has been answered or not. Just ask your question so that we make progress.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I will leave that aside. Honorable Minister, Honorable for Wengwa talked of Angola. You know, Madam Speaker, there's too much history in this country. History should only be used so that it puts you in the right position, and then it gives you or makes you come up with an immediate practical solution. That's the use of history. But if you use history to give a response so that you are calmed, then you are not going to solve the problem. Let us not use history. Angola, Honorable Minister, you are aware that there was a trip, or there were trips to Angola, to Namibia. This, you are aware. But if you remember your responses, in your response, it showed like, yes, we are yet to do. Look, Madam Speaker, we have a crisis. So the minister must be very pragmatic, practical, to the point. Right now, 2 weeks ago, a boat capsized in Kalabo. And that boat was carrying fuel from Angola. Let us be very realistic and very practical, Madam Speaker. It happened just there at the harbor. So, we have rules in this country. We have laws in this country. The laws, yes, in brackets, to protect the integrity of this country and the citizens. But under there, citizens seek other measures. That's why that fuel keep on coming to Zambia. The question is, as a ministry or as a government, what are you going to do? Are you going to allow those pirating bringing in the fuel from Angola? Are you going to create a space for them so that that fuel come to alleviate, as it has always been, what is the position of the government over that fuel from Angola? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Member. In terms of the concern that the Honorable Member raised over the question the Honorable Member of Mandev posed, I did say that the punitive measures, amongst the punitive measures, suspension of licenses will be done if they will not adhere to what we have already engaged. So that's how I responded to that question. Now, coming to your question, Honorable Member for Kalabo, this industry has got regulations. We will not allow people who are pirating, going to Angola, get that fuel, bring to Zambia. Because there are certain regulations that have to be followed. But other than that, Madam Speaker, I've said our experts are already on top of things. We have already engaged Angola to make sure that that source can also be factored into our interventions that we are proposing going forward. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The last question will be Honorable Member for Kabwata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. And allow me, Madam Speaker, to congratulate the two honorable members who are now ministers, Honorable Gatakwe and Honorable Mfunelo from Foe. Madam Speaker, instability in the Middle East, it will not end now. Many years ago, it was in Iraq. Now it is in Iran. So meaning that the instability that side to keep on coming, especially that some of us who understand the history behind the Middle East. Madam Speaker, if you look at Angola, my question is actually, it relates to what Honorable Member for Kalabo and Wengo has asked. If you look at Angola, Madam Speaker, Angola is near to Zambia, and yet we want to start exploring other means, ways of getting fuel from countries like Nigeria, or we continue getting from the Middle East. But if you look at our neighbors, they have the capacity to produce and supply us with that fuel. And I remember 2 years or some months ago, where the government did actually engage with the Angolan government, and there were measures that were put up in place, suggestions to build a pipeline between Zambia and Angola. So I wanted to find out from the minister whether there has been any feasibility study to that effect. I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member. Indeed, Madam Speaker, this government is already committed to engage our neighboring country, Angola, in making sure that the source of the petroleum product that is being discussed is considered by this government. Also, you must take note, Madam Speaker, that if you were to ask the Minister of Transport, there are a lot of engagements that are progressing very well in terms of the networks. So the issues of Lobito Corridor is one of the things that must give you confidence that in terms of trade and other opportunities that would like to tap into Angola are progressing. Now, coming to the specific question, Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member has asked whether feasibility studies have been done. Madam Speaker, feasibility studies for the pipeline are not yet done, but there's work already in progress. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. We make progress. Next question, the Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 270.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Honorable Member of Parliament, representing the good people of Kalabo, to ask the Minister of Health in two parts. A, whether the government is aware that Lewanika General Hospital in Mongu district does not have any medical oxygen. And B, if so, what urgent measures are being taken to ensure the availability of medical oxygen to avert the loss of lives? Our response, Madam Speaker, in A, the government is aware that we are facing operational challenges with the oxygen plant at Lewanika General Hospital, but this has not affected the provision of oxygen to the patients at the facility. Lewanika General Hospital has 2 oxygen plants, And I regret to inform the House, Madam Speaker, that for the last 4 months, both plants have been facing operational challenges and need repair and maintenance. Subsequently, the hospital requested oxygen from Luampa Mission Hospital, which has also since developed a technical fault. These oxygen plants, Madam Speaker, are under warrant, and the supplier has been notified and attending to the matter, which we hope to be resolved within the shortest possible time. In Part B, Madam Speaker, I wish to assure this House that the oxygen supply chain remains intact and fully functional in supporting our health facilities. A temporary breakdown on one plant does not equate to a collapse of the entire supply chain. To mitigate plant downtime, Lewanika General Hospital has adopted a multimodal oxygen supply strategy. Madam Speaker, the hospital sources medical oxygen in cylinders from Lusaka and supplements these functional oxygen concentrators for patients requiring oxygen therapy. In line with this strategy, the hospital has diversified its supply base with over 30 oxygen concentrators and more than 100 filled cylinders on standby. Madam Speaker, the average consumption of oxygen at Lewanika General Hospital has been approximately 25 cylinders per week. On 4th March 2026, the hospital procured 120 cylinders from Lusaka to build up a buffer stock. Furthermore, on 14th March 2026, the hospital dispatched a truck carrying 150 empty cylinders to the National Heart Hospital in Lusaka for refill. Madam Speaker, the government has invested over $10.4 million in establishing oxygen production facilities across the nation to ensure that our health system is resilient and capable of meeting patient needs and during unforeseen technical challenges. Madam Speaker, I thank you and ready to take up follow-up questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It was around 21:54 hours. This is the genesis of this question. At 21:54 hours, I called a man in Mongu. This was after going on the social media. Then I discovered there was a problem of oxygen in Mongu. Madam Speaker, Lewanika General Hospital takes care of all the hospitals in Western Province. We have 16 districts, and each district, I believe, there's a district hospital which has to refer cases to Mongu. So, when I realized that there was a challenge, but Honorable Katakwe, who is the Minister of Health, okay, I'll stop there. Madam Speaker, the responses which the Minister has stated there, I don't know the people who are operating in Mongo. In the Garden of Eden, Madam Speaker, the air which was blown into the nostril of those creatures which were created there contained oxygen. So this air here, which we believe was blown into, it contained oxygen. So that particular gas of oxygen is very critical to the well-being of the people on earth. Honorable Minister, are you convinced that your people operating managing Lewanika General Hospital, are you satisfied with their performance level? If you are satisfied, what led to the death, may her soul rest in peace. Yeah. Yes, Honorable Minister, if you are convinced that those workers who are manning the Wanika General Hospital, according to your response, it shows that there were some supply of oxygen. But why is there a cry in the general public the way your people are attending to the patients at the Wanika General Hospital, resulting into the impression that there's no oxygen? I don't know whether you have heard my question.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Indeed, I console with the Honorable for the loss of life. Madam Speaker, I need to state here that, as I stated, that we are facing the challenges, and it needs to be noted that we generally have operational challenges with oxygen plants, not only in Lewanika General Hospital, but this has extended to Chingola, Chipata, Solwezi, and Choma. And so, Madam Speaker, however, as I indicated that the supply chain remains intact and there is sufficient oxygen to meet the demand even at Lewanika Hospital. The question that the 2 lives that were lost, Madam Speaker, I need to state here, in fact, that the oxygen plants that have developed the faults are under warrant, and the supplier or the contractor has been informed. What was unfortunate in the past 3-4 weeks, Madam Speaker, is that the engineer, the Chinese engineer who was engaged to repair these oxygen plants around the country, started from one province, Lusaka, and on the way to Mchinga, this Chinese caught malaria and actually died 2-3 weeks ago. And that exacerbated the problem that we're talking about. Unfortunately, that engineer lost his life, and the ministry is working to make sure that we have another engineer to come on board and work on these 40 oxygen plants. Madam Speaker, let me clarify that the 2 patients transferred from Lewanika General Hospital to University Teaching Hospital on the 14th March 2026 by the Flying Doctor Service were part of the standard medical referral process and not an emergency response due to lack of oxygen at Lewanika General Hospital. Madam Speaker, allow me to use synonyms. One patient, Ms. T.M., for avoidance of naming the actual patient, aged 34, underwent a cesarean section operation at 38 weeks of gestation, meaning the pregnancy term, on 11th of March 2026, under spinal anesthesia. That means operation to aspirate or get cerebrospinal fluid. Madam Speaker, she experienced unforeseen complications during the surgery. Vomited blood and aspirated, meaning the blood went into the other respiratory organs, into the lungs, subsequently requiring respiratory support. She was managed in the ICU for 3 days on mechanical ventilation and other oxygen devices. She was transferred to UTH for ongoing critical care, having received oxygen continuously throughout her admission at Lewanika General Hospital. So, Honorable, there was serious attempt for the medical professionals at Lewanika General Hospital to sustain. So their work culture is according to the standard that is set. The 2 patients, Madam Speaker, the second patient, Madam Speaker, Miss NC, synonyms, aged 38, had extensive lung damage, scarring of lung tissue, post-TB lung disease, with extensive lung fibrosis. This patient was referred from Kaoma District Hospital and was admitted at the intensive care unit in Lewanika General Hospital on the 10th of March, 2026 with extreme difficulties in breathing, severe respiratory distress. She was transferred to UTH for specialized evaluation of her lung condition. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, that life was also lost. May I emphasize that both patients received adequate oxygen therapy throughout their treatment at Lewanika, and their transfers were routine and not as a result of lack of oxygen. On behalf of the Ministry of Health and the government, I wish to extend our deepest and most sincere condolences to the families of the deceased, and we pray that God grants them strength and comfort. Madam Speaker, I thank you and ready for extra questions.
Thank you very much. That was an elaborate question. So, honorable members, when we ask questions, let's be precise to the point and avoid repetitions. The honorable member for Lubasenshi.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much for allowing the people of Lubasenshi to ask a follow-up question. Honorable Minister, the issue of lacking of oxygen is a serious issue. But before I could proceed and ask my question, allow me, Honorable Speaker, to also join my colleagues to congratulate Honorable Gatakwe and the Honorable Marama for their appointments, Madam Speaker, as ministers. My question to you, Honorable Minister, knowing fully that already we have lost some people because of lack of oxygen at Lewanika General Hospital.
Sorry, Honorable Member for Lubasenshi, if you are following the Honorable Minister's answer, he did not state that people died as because of lack of oxygen. If you are following the answer, so please let's be factual. You may proceed.
Okay, well guided, Madam Speaker. I'll just have a concern regarding the inventory of the same oxygen because, Madam Speaker, I worked in the laboratory. When you're about to run out of materials to use, there are always personnel to indicate that, for instance, oxygen in terms of cylinders are about to finish. And at that particular time, the relevant officers, they have to do the needful in terms of purchasing or making sure that there is no deficit. Now, I would like to find out this time around, Minister, what serious intervention and assurance are you giving to the people of Western Province to ensure that what has happened, they will never experience? Because there is the issue of, for me, attitude towards work and work culture towards the work, such that at the end of the day, you find yourself or we find ourselves in this situation. I submit, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I wish my brother was really following what I was stating. However, just to elaborate further, I said, first and foremost, that the supply chain of oxygen has not been disrupted. However, the oxygen plants, there are two entities or two different things here. We have the oxygen that is refilled in Lusaka and transported. Each time there is low levels of supply of oxygen, the officers there, they inform the Ministry of Health and the replenishment is done. Like in this case, Lewanika General Hospital had to get oxygen from the next facility that was available. And also the fact that this is not about culture or work culture of the personnel or inventory issues. The ministry is up to date, and this is why I stated that the oxygen plants that are dotted around the country, when they experience faults and they are under warrant, the engineer that I stated who started doing the repairs to these oxygen cylinders fell sick because of malaria and died. And the ministry has requested for another engineer to move on site and make sure that these plants are serviced and they are working at optimal capacity in order to produce more oxygen. That's what I stated, Madam Speaker. I thank you. Ready for more questions.
Thank you. Honorable Member for Mongo Central.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Let me first pass my condolences to the family that lost the mother. And I want to confirm, because I was in the constituency and I had the privilege of attending the funeral, which is being referred to here, I want to confirm that the patient in question delivered a child at Lewanika General Hospital. And after that, there were some complications. And we arranged for flying doctor service to be, she was flown to Lusaka together with the baby and arrived safely at UTH here in Lusaka. And unfortunately, she passed away here in Lusaka, not in Mongo, Lewanika General Hospital. And I want to confirm that there is adequate oxygen at Lewanika General Hospital. And we visited the hospital to confirm that indeed there is oxygen there. So I wanted just to find out from Honorable Minister here, because we have had 2 or 3 other incidents where mothers have lost their life during the process of giving birth. And no mother really deserves to lose her life during the delivery. So I want to find out whether we have proper trained or specialized nursing or doctors who are able to assist in the delivering of children when they are admitted, in the delivering of children at Lewanika General Hospital. Do we have adequate trained staff at Lewanika General Hospital to assist our mothers to give birth normally? Thank you.
Although now that is only delivery, which is outside the oxygen, but the Honorable Minister is anxious to answer. Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable, for that question. We have adequately trained midwives capable of delivering our mothers safely at Lewanika General Hospital. However, Madam Speaker, complications do arise, like I stated in this case. This was a cesarean section, and it was not any mistake, because in any medical condition, we also look at other underlying factors. So in this case, life was lost not because of ill-trained or incompetent professionals. We have trained, well-trained for that matter, nurses who are also midwives, and the entire medical fraternity professions, they are based there. And just for avoidance of doubt, Madam Speaker, the 2 deaths that occurred, these people are related or connected to politically exposed people. And they use that platform to insinuate to the public and to the nation that government facilities do not have adequate medical cylinders. That shouldn't be the case. Let us not use death for a political mileage. Let us not use death for a political mileage. When such things happen, these are medical issues, and we are not the custodians of life. The Creator himself, like Honorable Mewuti was talking about, life belongs to God. Even medical doctors do die. But our hope and trust is that we should do our very best at medical level, and we leave the rest to the Creator, the honor of the very life that we have. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe the Honorable Minister has supplied sufficient responses to the question, and also bearing in mind that the person who asked, the honorable member who asked the question has decided to leave, so we can just make progress. Next question, the honorable member for Chawama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 271.
The honorable acting leader of government business.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
The honorable nominated member, the deputy government chief whip, please can you attend to one of your members outside? The honorable acting leader may proceed.
The honorable member for Chawama, Mr. Nundwe, asks the Vice President the following question.
Sorry, Honorable. I had sent Honorable Deputy Government Chief Whip to go and attend to you, but now you have come back. Welcome back, Honorable Member for Kalabo Central, my client. The Honorable Acting Leader of Government Business may continue.
The question under A is as follows: whether the government is aware that the following areas in Chawama parliamentary constituency have been flooded following heavy rains during the period between 12th to 16th March 2026, thereby posing a threat of an outbreak of waterborne diseases in A, Kuku, 2, Msisi, and 3, John Howard. B, if so, what urgent measures are being taken to address the problem? And then under C, what long-term measures are being taken to avert flooding in the constituency? Madam Speaker, the government is aware that parts of Chawama constituency have, particularly Kuku, Msisi, and John Howard areas experienced flooding following heavy rains between 12 and 16 March 2026. This is consistent with earlier flooding patterns observed in Chawama and surrounding areas, including Koloma Ward, where assessments have confirmed that the area is low-lying and receives significant stormwater inflows from higher elevation areas, compounded by full upstream dams discharging excess water during the periods of sustained rainfall. The situation has been further exacerbated by blocked and poorly maintained drainage systems, as well as indiscriminate disposal of solid waste, which significantly reduces the capacity of existing drainage infrastructure. Government is therefore fully cognizant of the risk of waterborne diseases and outbreaks thereof, particularly in Korela, in the affected communities, Madam Speaker, under B, regarding urgent measures being taken, I wish to report that the government, through a multi-sectoral response led by the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, Lusaka City Council, and the Lusaka District Disaster Management Committee, has implemented a number of urgent interventions, including under public health interventions, distribution of over 3,600 bottles of chlorine to affected households, to disinfection of households, sanitary facilities, and public premises. 3, inspection of over 800 sanitary facilities. 4, extensive health education campaigns reaching over 42,000 people. 5, ongoing water quality monitoring with both bacteriological and chemical testing being conducted. In addition, preparations are underway for a cholera vaccination campaign to further reduce public health risks. Under emergency response and community engagement, we are implementing a Cash for Food Work initiative, engaging over 600 community workers or community members to clear and unblock drainage systems, also to clean and disinfect flooded areas. Distribution of relief support to participating households, including food items and chlorine, to improve sanitation conditions. Under the engineering and environmental measures, Lusaka City Council has intensified efforts to, 1, unblock and maintain drainage systems, 2, deploy performance contractors for drainage management, and 3, undertake emergency clearance of waste from critical drainage channels. These interventions, Madam Speaker, are aimed at reducing stagnant water, improving drainage flow, and limiting disease transmission risks. Madam Speaker, regarding long-term measures under sea to avert annual flooding, I wish to state that government recognizes that flooding in Chawama constituency is structural and recurrent in nature and therefore requires sustained long-term interventions. In this regard, the following measures are being pursued. 1, drainage infrastructure development. We want designing and construction of improved and expanded drainage systems across Lusaka district to effectively channel stormwater and into designated water courses. Very big project. 2, strengthening solid waste management, enhanced enforcement against illegal dumping of solid waste, which has been identified as a major cause of drainage blockages. 2, strengthening operations of waste management systems and encouraging household subscription to waste collection services. Under 3, community-based disaster risk reduction, implementation of a structured community-based cleaning and drainage maintenance program targeting flood-prone areas such as Chawama, continuous risk communication and sensitization to promote behavior change in waste disposal practices. And improved urban planning and regulation. 1, strengthening land use planning and enforcement, particularly in low-lying and high-risk areas, ensuring that future development is aligned with drainage capacity and flood risk considerations. And under integrated multi-sectoral approach, want continued coordination among DMMU, local authorities, health authorities, and other stakeholders to ensure a holistic approach to flood risk management. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, government remains fully committed to protecting the lives and health of citizens in Chawama constituency and other flood-prone areas. While immediate measures have been implemented to address the current situation, sustained investment in infrastructure, environmental management, and community engagement will be key to permanently addressing recurrent flooding. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions, the Honorable Member for Chawama.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much for for such answers. Acting Leader of Government Business, your answers to me are so basic. You have not reached to the core of the solution, particularly for the city of Lusaka. If you recall very well, Madam Speaker, UPND government had a very spectacular master plan for this city. Well detailed, beautiful master plan that requires total execution to it. Acting Leader of Government Business, I know your immediate answer may be you don't have sufficient funds. But to me, we have to have a permanent solution to this. When are you going to start executing the master plan for Lusaka province, knowing fully well that this is the face for our country? When we talk about this area that we're talking about, Mrs. Cook and John Award, particularly Mrs. Compound, it's just about 750 meters away from central business area. It gives a very bad embarrassment actually to the nation. When are you going to start executing the master plan for Lusaka province to avoid these daily occurrences in nearly all the constituencies in Lusaka province? Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. The Acting Leader of Government Business in the House.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I think it's very important for us to know that the geological formation of Lusaka is such that we have this very, very big problem. And because of that, it's an existential challenge that we have. I think it's well known. It's nothing very new. Yes, as a result, the master plan has been generated or elaborated. And these plans, Honorable Member, are not from yesterday. They have been in existence. And as such, given the magnitude of what will be required in order for us to ensure that the master plan is executed, requires a lot of funding, finances, and collaboration with various partners. And this is work in progress. As soon as that is done, and we have the necessary resources, it's everybody's desire to ensure that we execute and implement the master plan. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kabwata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for another opportunity. Madam Speaker, the challenges that the people of Chawama are experiencing, especially in rainy season, they're equally the same with Kabwata constituency, especially along the rail line where we have Kamala South there. And areas like Mississing, Kuku, and also parts of Jonawas, we share almost the same geographical features with Chawama and Kabwata. However, Madam Speaker, the areas where we have managed to construct the Bombay drainage, then it ended somewhere. And we have managed also to execute or construct some sub-drainage. We do not experience a lot of flooding in Kabwata constituency. Basically, equally, if Chawama had been given an opportunity also to connect those sub-drainages into the Bombay drainage, it would have been nice, and the flooding would have actually reduced, especially in Koko and Mrs. Now, I wanted to find out from the acting leader of government business whether government together with also DMMU or local government, they have got any intention to expand the Bombay drainage from where it ended near the rail line in Kamala South to expand it up to John Howard. Because once that is done, then it will be easy for the other two constituencies to connect to to connect the sub drainages to the main drainages. Thank you.
Thank you. The acting leader of government business in the House.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The immediate actions, Honourable Member, are exactly that, to, as much as possible, do these drainages and connect them so that the water flows to where it's supposed to be flowing. I think you have seen government, even last year and even this year, trying to do exactly what the Honourable Member is suggesting. We'll definitely look into it and see that it has been done. And for that matter, government has spent about 100 million in 2025 to connect or construct the drainages that are so important for us to drain Lusaka off the floods. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Chama North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Thank you, Acting Leader of Government Business. Madam Speaker, the issue of flooding is not only peculiar to Chawama, and I'm happy that the Acting Leader of Government Business has indicated that the government is equal to the task to deal with those challenges in Mrs. John Howard and Kuku. Madam Speaker, the Acting Leader of Government Business has also told this House that the government is ready also to deal with those effects of flooding in other flood-prone areas. The Minister of Green Economy always comes to this August House every year to give an update on the weather forecast, which I think should make the DMMU to plan ahead so that immediately these disasters happen, our people get support. Madam Speaker, maybe taking advantage of this question, especially that today we didn't have an urgent matter without notice, I want to find out to the Acting Leader of Government Business whether government has already provided certain basic things such as tents, other humanitarian assistance to our people, apart just from Chawama, because we have a similar problem in Chama. We have had a huge, heavy downpour for the past 3 days, and a lot of houses have been washed away. Floods, actually, fields have been flooded. So I want to find out, using that weather update, whether these materials are readily available so that our people do not spend maybe nights in the cold. I thank you.
Thank you. The Acting Leader of Government Business.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the DMMU, Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, one of their core mandates and tasks is to provide various materials, tents, food, when required. And so this one is one of the major activities, and DMMU is always ready to provide tents, food, etc., that are required on call. So they will identify the issues or the problem, and on call they are able to mobilize and reach out to the communities that have been affected. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. The last question will be from the Honorable Member for Mandebu.
Madam Speaker, thank you once again for this opportunity to ask a follow-up question to the Acting Leader of Government Business. But before then, may I take this opportunity, Madam Speaker, to congratulate one of your players in the National Assembly, Madala's team for the honorable members. Very dependable player who has been appointed the Honorable Minister of Health. As your team captain, I'm very proud of your appointment. Congratulations. And congratulations too to the MP for Mfue for his new appointment. Honorable Acting Leader of Government Business, first of all, I must appreciate the efforts that government put in to ensure that the flood victims last year in Mandevu were well attended to. We saw the Vice President visit the area. We saw His Excellency the President visit the area and ordered the rehabilitation of a bridge that was washed away, and this was done. We have not seen the same this year, despite reporting some cases of houses having been broken down due to the heavy rains in Mandevu. My question is, the flood-prone areas in Lusaka are well known, Chawama, Kanyama, Mandevu. We have seen monies being released, 100 million last year, but going only to one area, Kanyama. When are we going to see equitable distribution of resources to attend to the flood-prone areas in Lusaka, when they are well known? Unlike the situation we're seeing now, where monies for drainages, concrete drainages, are only going to Kanyama. Nothing in Chawama, nothing in Mandevu. When are we going to see this change? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
That's even a completely new question. The Honorable Acting Leader of Government Business.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Member, for that question. The answer is simple and straightforward. I would say soon and very soon that will happen. Without any doubt. We hear you, and we know these are the flood-prone areas. And as you said, last year, the government did a good job. We appreciate your appreciation towards the government, that when they do something, you acknowledge. And so in this instance, we will do something about it, and it will be soon, and very soon we are going to see the Lord. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We haven't done much in terms of progress. We are lagging behind, but we go to the next questions for oral answer, understanding Order 80. The Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Question number 272.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, Honorable Francis Kapchanga, Member of Parliament from Pika, Central Pika constituency, ask the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security the following questions. A, whether the government has any plans to construct Pika main police station in Pika district. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. C, what the estimated cost of the project is. And D, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, in responding to the questions asked by the Honourable Member, I wish to inform...
Order. As the time is 10:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a health break.
Thank you.
a health break, and business will resume at 11 hours. And just before the break, we had the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security who was responding to a question that has been posed by Mpika Central Member of Parliament, Mr. Francis Kapyanga, in which he wanted to find out whether the government has any plans to construct Mpika main police station in Mpika district, and if so, when the plans will be implemented and what the estimated cost is, and if not, why.
And when business commenced at 09 hours today, Madam Speaker did make some announcements. Madam Speaker recognized the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Chongwe Secondary School in Chongwe District and pupils and teachers from Jacaranda Trust School in Kabwe District. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly.
And earlier on, we had a question that was posed by Mr. Mumba Kantanshi, Member of Parliament, Anthony Mumba Kantanshi, Member of Parliament, and he posed a question to the Minister of Energy. And the first part of the question, he wanted to know what measures the government is taking to ensure a consistent supply of fuel during the ongoing conflict that is involving the United States of America, Israel, and Iran. And part B, what the anticipated fuel cost trends are during this period, and part C, what the current national fuel shortage capacity is and the corresponding duration for which the available stocks can sustain the supply, and part D, what measures the government will put in place to mitigate the impact of the cost of fuel. And this question has since been responded to. Matimba, let's look at the response as it affects actually a lot of sectors in the economy of any other given country. And in response to this question, the Minister of Energy did indicate to the House that government is considering alternative routes to source petroleum products via the west side of the continent through ports such as the Walvis Bay, and the government is also ensuring that a strict management of the current stocks that are there, such as the banning of exports, and also government will actually have active management of the supplies of suppliers of oil marketing companies, OMCs, to continue importing products from their refineries that are not affected by the war in the Middle East. And part B of the question, what the anticipated fuel price trends are during this period. The minister indicated to the House that the general trends in the international oil prices for the refined products show that the prices have moved from relatively stable levels to historic high levels at a global level. And it did also indicate that the 551 million liters is the current national storage capacity, and the reviewing of the current of the open access market will be done by the government as some of the measures to be put in place to mitigate the impact of the cost of fuel. So just now we take a break and we come back at 11 hours. Keep watching.
On Norway constituency, we profile one of the most prominent constituencies in the country.
The constituency is facing a lot of challenges, but the major ones are, number one, poor road network, communication network, no financial institutions, no colleges, no electricity, and inadequate infrastructure in both education and health.